So I wanted to share this little excerpt with you, and then from here we'll sort of break it down. So it's very, very simple, and it has many layers to it. So firstly, let's read it out. It says concentration on things in motion engages the mind, temporarily distracting it from its habitual thoughts. Concentration on things that are steady calms the mind, bringing lucidness and interim relief from its thoughts. Concentration on the thinker of thoughts liberates the mind, obliterating the illusive thinker along with his thoughts. So many layers to it, but first and foremost, I want you to acknowledge the primary emphasis here is a concentration, a focusing, a gathering of your energy, of your attention, of your love, of your care, of your interest. All those are just like, you can use those words synonymously. It's a concentrating. One thing that is very characteristic of the personal state is scatteredness, a scattering of energy, of interest, of focus, of attention. So when we begin the spiritual path, actually, let's even go before then. When there's no spiritual teaching in your life, you only know concentration in areas where, let's say, you need to concentrate for work, or to do really anything in this world, and to do it well, you need the capacity to concentrate. You know, like when you're going, let's say you're playing a game of basketball, in order to play well, you need to be able to concentrate on the task at hand, right? It's like your entire energy is in the current activity at hand. This we can say is the first aspect, concentration on things in motion. So we can say any activity that you're doing right now. It could be work, it could be walking, it could be washing the dishes, it can be having a conversation, it could be playing a game. When we concentrate on the activity at hand, those moments, there are no problems. There's no psychological chatter creating a past and a future to worry about. It's just whatever is being done. And this offers as like a sort of a distraction from the habitual thought patterns, right? So this is the first aspect of it. Concentration on things in motion engages the mind, temporarily distracting it from its habitual thoughts. Now, though, the spiritual teaching comes into your life, and it's teaching you to further gather yourself. It tells you you're too splattered all over the place, gather yourself. So perhaps you are taught to meditate on your breath, bring your attention to your breath. Or, some people are like, I like to meditate on external objects. So they'll light a candle and they'll stare at it and focus on the flame, or maybe look at a tree, and just like look at it and then just focus on the tree. So let's actually break this middle one down. I would like to break it down into two areas. One is focusing on things that are steady. And I use the word steady in quotations because actually nothing that can be focused on is steady. No object that can really be focused on is steady. But in comparison to a moving activity, right, such as working or having a conversation or whatever, we're now concentrating on a seemingly steady object, such as a tree or a flame, or so let's start here. An external object. You can focus on a tree and concentrate. You can focus on a flame and concentrate. And you surely will gain the benefit of that, right? It says right here, interim relief from thoughts. So the mind does become a little more focused, less scattered. at least for the time that you're concentrating it. So the practice has some benefit. It makes the mind more one-pointed, but it does not lead to any real wisdom, any real realization, understanding. Same with concentrating on things in motion. You can be the best athlete and you're so good at concentrating, but it might not, that practice of concentration might not lead to great wisdom, understanding. It doesn't unlock that door of wisdom. Same thing when you are concentrating on an external object. You will get good at concentrating, making the mind more one-pointed, but it's not going to unlock that door of wisdom. Or maybe just a little peak, but not really. When I went on my Vipassana retreat, the reason for this, as they taught it, as they said that the Buddha was teaching it in his time, is that our bondage is on the level of the body and mind. So we need to focus in the realm of the body and mind in order to be free from all of these reactions, this compulsiveness, this constant scatteredness, this resistance, this craving, this suffering. Our suffering is on the level of the body and mind. So bring your focus here. Forget even what we call external objects. So now the teaching, it invites you, rather than focusing on external objects, close your eyes, let go of caring about what the sense perceptions are gathering, which is what we call the external world, is just the sense perceptions. And instead, you bring your attention to this area of body and mind. And that is either, so we're practicing focusing on the breath, right? Because the breath is a very, it's almost like the external manifestation or the physical manifestation of mind. When the mind is turbulent, the breath is turbulent. When the mind is calm and steady, the breath is calm and steady. Or you're focusing on sensation. You see, you're focusing on the bodily sensations. When the mind is turbulent, the sensations are also reflecting of that. When the mind is steady, the sensations are steady. Or when there's great resistance or craving, reactiveness, it happens on the level of body sensation. So it was taught that because the bondage is at that level, where the mind is constantly reacting to the sensations are reacting to the mind, the sensations and the mind are both reacting to the what we call external environment, the input of the senses. So work here by concentrating on the sensation, on the breath. Not only does the mind become more one-pointed, but it starts to open up the door of wisdom. It starts to make us aware of our own bondage. It starts to make us aware of the constantly clinging and resisting nature of mind, of how it's always dissatisfied with what is, always wanting something, always feeling incomplete. It starts to awaken us to that. It starts to awaken us to the fact that we are not that. By focusing on sensation, right? Our own body sensation and the breath, we also start to understand more and more the changing nature of all experience. Previously, we just thought that things outside of us change while I do not change. Yeah, I see, people show me pictures of myself and I'm like, oh, I've changed so much and stuff. But really that's not my lived experience. Somewhere I still sort of believe that I'm a stable person, So this meditation starts opening that door of understanding to you clearly seeing that, no, just like the circumstances and everything else outside is changing, to that equal measure, the body and the mind are also changing. So meditation or the concentration on sensation and breath start to open up those doors. Now, of course, we work on this level, but we also work on the next level, which is perhaps even a step subtler and more direct. Concentration on the thinker of thoughts. So previously you were focusing on things, and now you're concentrating on the thinker of thoughts, or the seeming thinker of thoughts. So here's where, don't get caught up in the words. Oftentimes we refer, like we talk about the thinker in many ways. And the way that it is being referred to here is the seeming thinker of thoughts, the I that thinks, the me that thinks, the me that is thinking, apparently, right? Because that's what it seems like. I am thinking. If we're told that that's not the correct way of seeing it, but we're like, how could you say that? Like, I know I am thinking. So the concentration on the seeming thinker of thoughts liberates the mind, obliterating the elusive thinker along with its thoughts. So the part that I wish to emphasize to you today is forget this last part, obliterating the elusive thinker with its thoughts, because we're just going to create more thoughts about what that really is, and whatever we think about, whatever idea we create about, it's not going to be that. So this is already this is a result that we do not need to worry about. But the practice that is being offered is of value. So concentration on if we do want the result, we just have to put in the practice, so why think about the result? Let's just put in the practice. And then whatever this is may reveal itself to us in our experience. That is the real simple way to go about things. That is the real spiritual way to go about things. The rest is all just conceptual, mental. So concentration on the thinker of thoughts. So we started with just concentrating on activities, because you can't even succeed in the world in doing anything without learning to gather yourself to a certain degree for certain periods of time. Not always, but for certain periods, just little moments, you have to learn to concentrate yourself, whether you're trying to pass a test in school or do well in your job, right? There has to be that. People who are totally scattered can't even do that. They're even more miserable. They're even more sort of in the scatteredness. There are some who are great concentrators, great focusers, but they're not necessarily wise. They may be extremely successful, but they're not necessarily wise. Why is that? Because concentration itself is limited, and what we concentrate on also matters, So in the spiritual teaching, you start concentrating on the breath and the body sensation. And that is very, very helpful. For some, this is also just enough. Many schools of spirituality don't even do anything different than this. And if the main focus is this, and that is totally okay as well. But, there are different schools of spirituality, and this is one. So it's quite a subtler pointer. Subtler because rather than being object focused, it is concerned with the subject, the I that thinks, the I that feels, the apparent me that experiences. Rather than focusing on my experience, something in my experience, now I'm being asked to concentrate on the me experiencing. And this is the main focus of everything we do here as well. Now, I know earlier I said that anything you can concentrate on is an object. And this is true. So when we say concentrate on the thinker of thoughts, of course, it is just a phrase. It is just a way to express or point the attention. But don't take it literally. See the meaning behind the words. And so that's what I would like to just run through a little brief for a brief period. If you wish to close your eyes. You see, for this meditation, it's absolutely crucial, like that you let go of being so concerned with what the senses are inputting. Don't just hook onto everything that the senses are inputting. Usually what you're seeing or hearing, automatically the mind jumps on and is trying to break it down, interpret it, label it, name it, figure it out, define it, judge it. That's what I mean. For now, just let the senses be idle. The moment you close your eyes, automatically the eyesight is no more. Of course, you are hearing my words, but that is also the invitation. Don't just mentally jump on my words. Just allow yourself to hear them and not really doing anything with them. If they are any bit powerful as they are intended to be, they will themselves direct your attention where it needs to go, but you don't need to do anything as per se. And your other three senses are idle. Your taste, touch, and smell, most likely just in a neutral state right now. Nothing being smelled, nothing really being felt. You're not moving. Just let them be. Don't jump on anything. Take the senses out of the equation. Otherwise, you'll never be able to concentrate on the subject. And it's also important for this meditation that we lose interest in and let go of being so concerned with the thoughts themselves, what they are saying, what they are talking about. If you wish to concentrate on the thinker, the me that is thinking, you can't be scattered in thinking, in the thoughts. So instead, tune to that sense of the me that is thinking, the I that is apparently thinking. I am present here. Concentrate on the thinker that I am. The me that is thinking. If you just find yourself now thinking, then know that you are not concentrating on the thinker, right? You are scattered in thinking. You have scattered yourself, your sense of self, your interest. You have scattered it into ideas. That's all thinking is, just ideas. Whereas the focus of this attention is concentrating on the thinker, not being scattered in thoughts. So the moment you notice that you are thinking, once again acknowledge that I am thinking, right? There's a thinker. Apparently, I am thinking. Just simply bring your attention back to me, the thinker. Concentrate on the thinker. Two things I want you to really notice. Number one, to concentrate on is not the same as to try to make something happen. When we concentrate on something, we're not being asked to make something happen or get something from it. It is only just a gathering of our attention and interest and energy and directing it towards whatever we are concentrating on. So here we are concentrating on the I, the self that thinks. You're not trying to make any realization happen or get anything from this. You're just concentrating, gathering yourself. That's it. Half of the confusion we create in meditation is just based off of our expectations of what should happen after I do this concentrating, or am I doing it right? What's supposed to happen? Nothing is supposed to happen. This is the momentum, the energy you have to start letting go of. That's mind. Just do the concentration. And the second thing I want you to notice is that in that period where you are simply concentrating, not trying to make anything happen, not thinking about something, not trying to do something, just concentrating on the self that thinks, the I that thinks, the I that feels. In that moment of concentration, it's just total stillness. It's just an illumination of your own self, illumination of being. In that moment, even your idea of I am so and so is totally at rest until you once again start thinking about I am so and so. But other than that, it's just I am. Concentrate on the I that am, that is. So, this is the subtler meditation, meditation in its highest regard, because all it is just awareness of being, awareness of knowing. When I say awareness of being, it might sound complicated and spiritual, but like when I say concentrate on the thinker, it's actually pointing you to the same thing, awareness of being. We may not recognize that right away, but actually it is. That's it's pointing you to the same thing that we focus on in every single call, in every single lecture of self-inquiry. This is the subtler meditation that leads to wisdom in a very direct fashion, because in that moment of illumination, self-awareness, for once, you're not concentrating, or you're not scattered in objects, or you're no longer even focused on one object. You are instead aware of self, self-aware. aware of being, knowing, which are the only really two things you can say about yourself in all honesty. I am and I know. Everything else is assumed. So it is very direct and it leads to wisdom and understanding, because in that moment of self awareness, all your identifications are at rest. In that moment of self awareness, you are not a person. In that moment of self awareness, there's no trauma, there's no past, there's no future. There's no problem. There's no I am meditating as a so and so. Even that idea is not present. It's just total unconditional being. So this is perhaps the highest use of your concentration in regards to spiritual practice. The greatest gathering of your energy. We always talk about how the greatest obstacle to self-awareness, the greatest obstacle to the practice of self-awareness is our scatteredness in objects, in our personal concerns, in the world. So in a moment of practice, sever those concerns, sever your interest in the mind and in the sense perceptions, and become aware of that which I am. Concentrate on the I that thinks, feels, and experiences, rather than being scattered in the thinking, feeling, and experiencing. This is your journey inward, from outward to inward, from scatteredness to self-awareness. Attention is so powerful. Anything you point it on, it like unlocks itself, you know? If you want to pass a test and you focus so incredibly hard on studying and you concentrate and gather your energy and you study, you will totally start to understand whatever you're studying and you will pass that test. If you're just trying to learn any subject out of your own curiosity, all it requires is for you to gather your energy and focus on that particular subject. And you start to learn everything about it. That whole realm of experience starts to reveal all of its secrets to you. Everything yields to your attention, for it is life itself. To get good at anything in the world, all you need is attention, focused attention, gathered attention. That's it. And you'll get good at it. That's all practice is. It's just gathering of yourself, of your attention, and towards something that you are trying to learn or understand. And by your very attention, it opens up to you. It's not complicated at all. With this, it's the same. With self-inquiry is we're not really interested in the world, trying to understand anything worldly. Our efforts are no longer being directed entirely on something that can be known, is in the realm of knowledge, but rather we are directing the same intensity of attention, of energy, of love, of interest, of devotion to that which I am. Self. when we keep saying practice, 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 stay consistent with the practice, give your the practice your all is being said is gather yourself, gather your energy and direct it towards the self that I am, the self that knows. And just like that, the self begins to reveal itself because everything yields to your attention. That's why we often say that if this yields to you or not is usually just uh, completely within your practice. Like it's in proportion to your devotion to the self. But our devotion is just usually towards our ideas, our concepts, our thoughts. So this is just a reversal of that outwardness to inwardness. Which is why this is called the direct path to self knowledge. The direct path is no path, it is a self awareness, a knowing and being of what you are. And in knowing and being what you are, you come to understand what you are more and more. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope it was very helpful for you. If you would like to further deepen your understanding of this teaching and how to apply it, I'm going to link a free resource in the description box below. It's called my Self Inquiry mini course. It's completely free. You can go through it step by step and learn how to practice self inquiry. But along with that, if this is something that you're looking for help with, if you want a structured way of applying this teaching, and if you want someone to guide you and hold you accountable, and a loving community that you can share a journey with, learn more about my School of Awakening as well. That is my paid program, but it is an amazing resource, an amazing supplement to your practice. You can check that out below in the description box as well and learn more about the program and see if it resonates with you. That's all for me for today. I hope everything helped. I'll see you next week.